To File New. My name is Ryan Selvey. This is the show where we go over creator news and designer news for you every week to keep you updated on the ever-changing creative world. We've got lots of news today. We've got a lot of TikTok updates. We have Instagram updates, fun Photoshop updates. There's also some Snap litigation, Project Neo updates, as well as variable fonts, font of the week, some great resources, a fun sunscreen that has been kind of recommended from our last thing, a rebrand, among a bunch of other things. As always, we rely on you and your votes for font of the week to be able to identify what is the best font. And we have a really good time. We're here for about the next hour or so, and we have a lot of news to get through, so I'm going to hop right into it. I will say very quickly before I press this button, if you're watching live, the theme song is going to be a little bit loud. I have not had a chance to turn it down, and I noticed last week that it was really loud. So I'm going to give you a countdown, and then you can maybe mute me for 3 seconds and then come back. So we're going to press it in 3, 2, 1. Thank you guys for being here. It's always such a pleasure. It's the highlight of my week to always be here. We've got plenty of stuff to get through. As you know, or maybe you don't know if this is your first time, all of our links are going to be available on a Raindrop link, which is available in the description. But I like to put everything together here on a Firefly board, and then we kind of expand it and go through the topics. When you guys have comments and thoughts about stories, I love to hear what you have to say, how the creative community is feeling about things. So please, by all means, go ahead and throw it in the chat. And if it is relevant and on pace, it will pop up on the stream. I'm also going to go here, and you'll see I'm going to post an announcement here in the Adobe Live Discord. We have a Discord for all the different shows here on Adobe Live, and I'm going to say that we are now live with File New. And here you can get notifications for ones that you want to sign up to. You can see that I have one for File New. We also have one that is just straight up for everything. And if you do that, then you can get nice notifications. You can also talk about some stuff that like isn't going to be on the show, or things that did happen on the show. One of them being Infinite Ball Drop, which has to do with a ball drop that is going now until New Year's, and where it would be in space. Hello to everyone who is in the chat. And we'll give you guys a little bit more of a call out in just a little bit, but I want to make sure that this is not insufferable for our replay watchers. Also, if you want to watch or listen via this podcast, it's available via podcast, and you're able to then go and catch all the news up every Wednesday for that. But I think the first thing that we're going to start with today is some reporting that came from 404 Media. This is from Matthew Gault, and it is about Comic-Con banning AI art after artist pushback. So, as you guys know, one of the biggest conventions in America is the San Diego Comic-Con. There's been a lot of changes and updates to it over the year, but one of the biggest parts of it is kind of this artist alley. There's also an artist alley, I know, at like Adobe Max. It's personally always my favorite of whenever you go to a conference, is being able to go around and look at all the different things that artists are bringing. And basically, they had said that they were going to allow having AI art in the conference this year, and a few artists figured out that this was going to be happening. And according to Matthew Gault here, it says that every year tens of thousands of people descend on San Diego for Comic-Con, the world's premier comic book convention. But it said that in their archived rules, it said that artists could display AI generated material so long as it wasn't for sale. And basically it said that now that you could have AI produced content as long as you credited the original artist and whose style was used. But turns out that they found out about that, and within 24 hours of artists finding out that you could have AI content at Comic-Con, they actually reversed their policy and updated their language to say that material created by artificial intelligence, either partially or wholly, is now not allowed in the art show at all. So it is now banned from the art show. I thought this was interesting because it just goes to show you that when people are coming together and they are agreeing on something of being able to see whether or not AI is available in a artist community. It's up to the artist community to decide whether or not they wanted to have there. And the fact that they said that they weren't interested in it was really interesting to then also be able to be able to not have it. So I am also going to try something real quick, and I'm going to just kind of like bizarrely also kind of co-stream at the same time here on Instagram Live. So hello to everybody on Instagram Live. Well, right now I'm streaming over onto YouTube, and if you're interested in checking out the visuals on screen, you're going to have to hop over there because I can unfortunately not have it also show the screen right now through Instagram Live. But also hello to everyone in the chat from Clever and Nate, iDawn, CV Girl, Peter, Keys, Dawn, Rick. Thank you guys for being here, and would love to hear what you guys think about. Do you guys think that there should be a full ban for AI art at Comic-Con, or do you think that it should be there as long as it has a disclaimer on it? Let me know in the chat, and I'll let you guys know what people are thinking, and interested to see how it kind of adapts. We have a lot of social media updates this week. The first being one that I found out through Lucas O'Keefe, who actually apparently found it out through Jamie Brindle. But it says that Instagram is adding new early access Reels options to the platform. I'm actually going to go ahead and rather than pull it up through here entirely, I'm just going to go ahead and bring in this. It says that now you can, for some users, add a new feature where creators are able to grant early access to a reel only for their followers. So this means that the reel will appear to non-followers on the Reels feed, but they will be prompted to follow before seeing the contents of the post. If viewers don't choose to follow, a countdown will show when they will be able to see it. Similarly with Reels, there will be a hidden by an early access sign on the grid. I think this is interesting because it kind of goes back to a few years ago when you had this huge surgence of people making all of their accounts private and then taking private accounts and then having people share memes and content in between channels. And then so you were getting all these things that were like, make sure you follow this person to see this post. And it was super annoying. And it was actually a way that you ended up following a bunch of people and all the accounts went private. And so whenever you were in a group chat, everyone was constantly just sending things. So then you ended up following everything that way. And then your grid got out of control. But super interesting with that in mind that now Instagram's kind of experimenting with this new approach that is then putting it into like the actual UI and the actual user experience. It's interesting that it has a countdown then to also show it for when it's then available. But I don't know. How do you guys feel about it? Do you think this is annoying or do you think this is a good thing for creators? I can feel like it's probably good for creators. I don't know if it's good for viewers. And we actually might, if we have time, talk about something that is kind of internet wide that is now focusing on the idea of viewers' experience versus creators' experience and seeing, you know, which one's more important and which one to prioritize. But this is just the first example, and we'll have some more later. Hi to everyone who's saying hello in chat. Good to see you. I'm seeing that Winter is saying that she worked hard to learn to draw, so AI isn't art. So I'm guessing you are happy with the Comic-Con ban there. Interesting to see. Reverb Mike is saying, how do they know if it's AI apart from the 12 fingers? Very funny. And yeah, I think that that'll also be something where I know in previous years, there's potentially been someone who has not disclosed that something is AI, and the community has been able to kind of point out when it has been AI, and having transparency and understanding. This is something for all of our film people, all of our video, all of our editors out there. This is something that's interesting that's happening in New York City. I didn't see much about it besides a post originally. And this is inside Sunset Pier 94. It's the massive new film and TV studio that just opened on the west side of Manhattan. This is from Time Out New York, written by Laura Ratliff. It is a 232,000 square foot campus at Pier 94, and it's Manhattan's first purpose-built studio. They have some pictures of it. This is the outside of it. You can see that's quite large. On the inside, it has plenty of areas for rigging, bringing things in, bringing things out, and studio building. It offers actually 6 massive sound stages with up to 36-foot clear heights, which is plenty of room for ambitious sets and lighting rigs. It has 145,000 square feet of production offices and support space, a dedicated mill for bringing sets, building sets, and on-site parking. And they said that New York State has recently expanded its film and television tax credits, causing demand for studio space to surge. especially for spaces that don't require schlepping an entire cast and crew out to Queens or Brooklyn, which previously has been where the production has been happening, besides the idea of like sound stages that happen for shows like Last Week Tonight or the Daily Show, also the Today Show as well, have all of their own production areas in their own right, but this is the first one that is fully purpose-built, fully soundstage, kind of right in the middle of the city. It says this week marked the official opening, and it is notably crazy that it took until 2026 for this to happen. I put this map here for you, just so anyone who is not familiar with New York City, where this is kind of situated. You can see here, this is the Central Park, famously gigantic park in the middle of the city. Down here is the financial district, Wall Street, where the Statue of Liberty is. Up here is probably where a lot of out-of-towners are familiar with Midtown. This is going to be your 42nd Street. This is going to be all of your Times Square, all of, the gigantic Olive Garden that you might go to, any theater. And then up here, off to the side, is going to be where this Sunset Piers studio is going to be. Over here, you have Hell's Kitchen and stuff. Times Square being right here, so not too far, nice and close, but interesting to see that it's now open. So I'll be interested if anyone here is going to be working at this production place and be able to see if they are looking at making more production here, because there was a while where it was kind of stagnant and there wasn't a lot of production in New York because it was very expensive to be in New York. So I'm interested to see if this works. Ben says, thanks for the map. I needed a point of reference. That's what we're here for. And if you guys have any questions, please let us know. Ben's excited about USA film production, which, yes, it's always good, because I know there's a lot of stuff going on in Canada and in like Belfast. I know Rick is saying that it's near the Daily Show, which, yes, Rick and I actually went together with. And then Reverb Mike is saying, can we stand outside and see the back of Al Rooker's head at 5 a.m.? That is going to be over by the Rockefeller, which is 30 Rock, which is the kind of like towards Empire State Building. Let's move on to another story. I just feel like we have so much to get through, and I want to make sure that we have enough time. Well, let's do an Adobe update real quick, and this one is actually going to come in the form of video. I don't know if we're going to watch the entire thing here, but I did want to show you guys something that was shared internally with me, and I got permission that I'm able to share this. But there is now going to be keyframes added to Premiere Mobile. So let's take a look at this real quick.
Here's the demo of what it will look like in Premiere on iPhone. You can see selecting the clip, tapping the keyframe button will add a little purple diamond there on the clip. And then you can adjust the properties. So you can change the scale of the clip, the rotation, the X and Y position, and the opacity. And then you want to go ahead to the next point where you want your motion to end, and you can adjust the properties for your clip, add another keyframe. So that was just a simple zoom and opacity change. Those are great properties that we can demonstrate. Here's another one where I'm doing a little pan, or just, the clip is going to slide in. Another very common one. And as you can see, there are, endless combinations of the properties that you could do. Pan and zoom is also super common. It's also worth calling out here the presets for easing in and out, or both ease in and out. This third clip is going to be kind of a combination of scaling and rotation.
So yeah, I just want to show you guys that it's coming down. I don't know if it has like an official kind of post anywhere for you guys to check out, but it is something that's coming to iOS for these new keyframes that are going to be built directly into the program, that you're able to then keyframe things on and off when you're just on your phone, which is really neat. The fact that there is going to be some keyframing is going to be really nice, because that's something that I've always kind of run into. Unicorn's excited about easing. Says, wow, volume. Oops, did I make it too loud? I'm so sorry. Sorry if I made anyone's ears bleed. I hate audio so much. It just makes me nuts. Tracy's saying, I'm so impressed by people who can edit anything on their phone. Well, she says, I feel like a boomer, and I feel like that is very, very true. CV Girl is also in agreement here, saying that they also feel like a boomer and don't know how people edit things on their phone. But there's a big audience that never leaves their phone to edit all of their content, which is remarkable to me. And I also want to get better at it because I don't want to feel old, but I also am really, stuck in my ways a lot. I think it's a great time to actually bring up a lot of the TikTok news. And so we go live every Wednesday at this time. And so since last Wednesday, there has been a lot of development in TikTok news from multiple different sources here. I first wanted to pull up the idea that Caitlin Humani was reporting on the fact that TikTok finally finalized a deal to form a new American entity. This is something that we've been talking about on the show for years and years and years. I've brought it up so many times that I'm so tired of actually reporting on it. And I'm very excited that I won't have to anymore because now the deal is done and it's happening. Basically, it says that TikTok has finalized a deal to create a new American entity, avoiding the looming threat of a ban in the United States. And it says the company signed agreements with major investors, including Oracle, Silver Lake, and the Emirati investment firm MGX to form the new TikTok US. Under the new joint venture with the new version, it will define safeguards that protect national security through comprehensive data protections, algorithm security, content moderation, and software assurances for U.S. users, according to the statement that they put out. And they continue to using the same app. The big focus that is really kind of coming to the forefront here is that the algorithm has been a central issue. Originally, China said that they were going to maintain the algorithm and it must remain under Chinese control by law. But then the regulation passed that said that any divestment of TikTok must mean the platform cuts ties with the algorithm, with ByteDance. So under the terms of the deal, ByteDance would license the algorithm to the U.S. entity for retraining, and the law prohibits any cooperation with respect to the operation of a content recommendation algorithm between ByteDance and a new potential American ownership group. So this just means that we will have a different algorithm. We will have an American-based feed, which is different than what the rest of the world is seeing. So just when you're posting content onto TikTok and you have different reach, you have different experiences, just remember that your feed is going to change. So this news broke on January 23rd, which was earlier in the week. But then later on the 25th, TikTok really broke down. They came out and they were saying that it was just a regular outage and not a result of the changes in management. They said that it was because there was like weather issues and stuff. And they're saying that the mobile app was not loading, but some people were saying that it was loading and it wasn't popping up with the right For You page, or they were seeing lots of repeats or things that were completely not related to them. It seems like it has been kind of navigating the idea of issues with the algorithm and update. There has been a rather large exodus and uninstall rate with TikTok because of the changes in algorithm, because of the change of control that's happening there. And one of the things that's happening is there is always tends to be, whenever there's, controversy with any sort of social platform, there is always kind of an alternative that bubbles to the surface, and we don't know if it's going to stick around or not. But according to Alice Gibbs at Newsweek, Upscrolled is an app that gains interest during the TikTok outage. On the App Store rankings, the interest was reflected in the charts, and it says that it was currently sitting at number 6 when they wrote this article, above platforms including like Discord, which means that a significant number of downloads and early user engagement. The big call to the use of using this was a lot of the outage of TikTok, and also updates to a lot of the algorithm. They said that the app Upscrolled has emerged as one of the most discussed alternatives, and they said that there's no censorship, no billionaires social networking app. It was launched just last year, and it says that because people were unable to log in and having bad performance, they were then able to switch over to Upscrolled. I downloaded it. I got it. I flipped through a few things. It was kind of the Wild West. It was some really weird content that I saw over there. So I don't know if I'll be able to chill over there or not. I don't know. We'll see how it evolves. I was trying to find a lot of people that I already followed on other platforms, and they hadn't been on there yet. So if you do get on there, I guess look for Ryan Selvey. But I would be interested if you guys are interested in doing that. Are you guys staying on TikTok? Are you uninstalling TikTok? If you're uninstalling TikTok, are you getting an alternative, or are you going to what you already have? So actually, I'll put that in the chat right now. I'm just going to say TikTok. I'm going to say, what are you doing with TikTok? and I'm going to say keeping it, uninstalling it, or we're going to say finding alternatives. And this is a poll that's going to be popping up over here on the YouTube chat. So if you're ever on Behance, make sure that you go and you give it a vote, because I would love to hear what you guys think about the entire experience. Also, hello to Annika over on the Instagram Live, and Tyler Pate, who is also on Instagram Live. We are live right now on YouTube for File New, so make sure you tune in, and you can see all the stuff on the screen. Winter is saying that she likes Blue Sky, but yeah, it feels like I feel like they do have video, but I feel like this is maybe in a different way. Oliver says you saw really weird content on Upscroll. Doesn't that mean it's the same as TikTok? Different weird stuff. Different weird stuff. And so yeah, it's a different place. Keys is saying that the American algorithm will only focus on American content, and the Chinese one is worldwide. Yes. Umacorn says she never posts anything on TikTok. And Oliver says that one of his TikTok videos lost its thumbnail the other day, and he's not even in the US. So it's interesting what's happening. Clever is saying that she's going to be doing nothing because she's ignoring TikTok entirely. And it looks like early votes, we have just 11 votes in so far, that 45% are finding alternatives, 27% are uninstalling it, and 27% just said that they're keeping it. So interested, and we'll keep looking at that to see how that develops over time. There was one other interesting social update that I also wanted to call out before we go into some program updates with Adobe, and this is coming from a creator called Show Gentle, and I did not realize this has happened yet. I don't know if this just came out yesterday or not. Well, actually, no, he posted it 6 days ago, so I guess it came out a little bit ago. I haven't seen any followers that are content creators that I follow that are doing this yet, but apparently there is a new update to Instagram. I'm going to go ahead and show a little bit of his video here that, well, actually, let's see if it loads first. For whatever reason, I have to make sure that all my links work here for Instagram, because sometimes it like just brings you to a random reel, which I do not love. So we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna look up his page real quick to make sure that we can pull it up. But basically, if you guys are familiar with a YouTube video where you can kind of point to a video, and then within the video you can click on the video to link out to something else. Apparently now you can do that on Instagram, which is nuts. So you can see that you can take a reel of your own. I don't know if you can use it on other ones, but using the reel apps, the edits in Reels, you can then add it to it, and then you can click from there. So I can technically click onto any of that stuff. I don't know if it's different because I'm on computer, but you in the app can click on it, and then it will bring you to another reel, and then, you know, kind of like guide people towards stuff. So you could use this as a creator and say like, hey, make sure you check out the other video I did about editing or tips here, or like make sure you check out the new thing that I made over here that didn't get as much content like that I wanted. And then you can also actually just link directly to accounts too. So I don't know if you're launching a new account, if you want people to go to your own account, you can then just go and be able to click around. So thank you to Show Gentle for bringing that to our attention. It's very cool. Make sure you give him a follow. That's just instagram.com/showgentle. And he has lots of really cool content creating updates and ideas. Then we have, let's look at some Adobe updates. We have some really cool Photoshop updates for anyone who uses Photoshop. I use Photoshop a lot personally. It was the first Adobe program that I actually learned. And there's some really nice quality of life updates. This was being reported on over on the Adobe blog, which is New Photoshop Innovations Provide Creative Pros More Control, Realism, and Precision by Pam Clark. And so there's a few different things. If you were just watching the stream before this, you can see that dynamic text is now a thing. In previous times, you had to make a circle with the path tool, and then you'd have to use the on the path text writer to then be able to kind of identify it, and then you'd have to find the circle, and you'd have to go and you have to click and move around. Now this is, I think, is in only the beta right now, but you can download the beta from the public beta, and this just lives within your text box, and it shows that you can have a circle or an arch in either way. We actually have a really nice reel from our good friend Kelsey Slay, who I absolutely love, and I'm going to go ahead and pull that up real quick, and she will explain it to you guys.
A new feature coming to Photoshop that hasn't launched just yet, but because I work at Adobe, I'm going to give you a sneak peek of it. We have all been doing type like this, going through this tedious process of setting up a shape, hovering with the type tool, resizing, wrestling with the positioning. This is finicky, and yes, I'm annoyed, but watch this. With this feature, you can just type your text normally, and in the properties panel, there are new icons under dynamic text. Check it out with one click. It will automatically set it up for you. You have some options to choose from. Plus, you can easily adjust this to your liking. If you use this feature, let me know. And if you want to see more sneak peeks like this, follow me. Okay, bye. This one.
So thank you to Kelsey, as always. Sorry if, in fact, I blew out your ears again. I turned it down this time, so it should work. We should be done with blowing your ears out. But very interesting, cool. I see a question from Nate saying, are you able to use the pen tool to manipulate the line? Not to my knowledge. It is interesting to see that this lives in the same spot as where the dynamic text lived, where you could make a text box and it will resize the type to fill the text box for you. So it's obviously something that a lot of people heavily resonated with and were excited about. And so the team then went and brought it further to see how they can work. So I'm sure if you were to articulate that in feedback, you would be able to go and maybe ask for a future feature. But I think otherwise it would then go to be able to, you might want to like actually use a path if you're going to adjust it. Penny says, I like the dynamic text in Photoshop. I use it for a small business flyer on Black Friday for a friend. Also, Catherine, thank you for being here. As always, this has got to focus and back work, but I look forward to watching the rest of this on the recording later today. Thank you very much. And you can always access this either through the link that we're on right now, or you can also go ahead and you can check out the podcast link, which is wherever you listen to podcasts. In this case, I am showing that it's on Spotify. It's just called The File New Show. If you write File New and it doesn't pop up, maybe write The File New and it will pop up. And if you guys give it a listen at all, please do me a favor and give it 5 stars. It helps with credibility, and it helps with also helping things being found. This is the schedule that we have for the rest of the day, as well as the rest of the week. We have a Twitch stream coming up after this in just about 30 minutes with CA and LA Cinema Collective. They go over a bunch of different film and video editing, and that's your video if you want any video. Hey, Jacob. There is a really coul stream from last week if you want to check the replay, where they're actually walking around Sundance Film Festival, which we talked a little bit about the branding and stuff last week, but also really interesting because this is the last time that Sundance is going to be in Utah. After this, they're actually moving to Boulder, Colorado. So it's interesting to kind of see that. And they were on the ground. They were filming things around. It was really neat. So maybe you will go with me next year to Sundance Film Festival, and I'd love to see. Reverb Mike says he only learned, can I turn my mic up, says Cody. Yes, I can. We will see. Like I said, guys, audio is my worst nightmare. Now, am I peaking though? If I'm peaking, let me know. I peaked in high school. No, I didn't. I was a loser in high school. It's fine. Kendall's really excited for Sundance to come to Boulder, which makes sense because she's a Boulder girly. And yeah, it's an interesting change. But if you want to see what it looks like in Utah, make sure you go check out that replay over on Twitch. Looking up Ryan Selvey also brings up the podcast, so if you're looking there. Ben says no peeking. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate you. And we still have more news to get through. Like I said, I know we're like halfway through our show and we're still in news, but there's just so many updates this week of things that are happening. One that I wanted to highlight that I didn't see much elsewhere was this video from our good friend Caleb Ganya. And it is a sneak preview of Project Neo Motion and first look. And actually, we have more stuff on Photoshop that I need to hop back to in just a second. But I do want to show a little bit of this video. I don't know how my audio levels are, so I don't know if we'll listen to the audio or not. But basically, if you guys are familiar with Project Neo, it is a web-based 3D program from Adobe that I like to play in. I actually used it when I was creating the map for my wedding. And Caleb does a really good job at showing the new features where they're implementing motion into it now. So it's not fully keyframe motion yet. I say yet, I don't have any knowledge to know if they are or not. But what you have is when you're clicking on something, it is going to in real time kind of show you how things can move. And so there's things like wiggle. I think he also pulls up another example of some other stuff that you can do here. And there's different motion techniques that you can apply to objects. And then those properties are then going to in real time, because it's cloud-based, going to then go and update it accordingly to then move things around. So you can move with things like your cycle time or your amplitude, the shape and the axis that it moves on, if it's X and Y or Z, and also if you want something to kind of move up and down or side to side. It can also do things like rotating things. Later in the video, he shows how he's going to like animate a s'more, and he makes the graham crackers kind of like spin in opposite directions in 3D, which is really cool. And this is something that I know a lot of people were asking about for a long time. They just want to be able to add some simple motion to simple 3D that they're making. It's very user friendly. I always saying that I want to learn 3D, and I always get scared by the programs. And then whenever I go into Neo, I can just kind of do it because it just works like building blocks, and helps you understand kind of X, Y, and Z axis. So it's about a 12-minute video. He goes into a real fun sandbox mode of just being able to explore and see what it looks like. But thank you to Caleb for making that video, and I'm excited about it. Mike is saying play it loud. It'll be okay. No, man. I'm gonna have to edit this also, and when I upload it as a podcast, I'm gonna have to edit all the levels. Umacorn saying she needs to play in Neo again. And yeah, this is something you guys feel like you guys could see yourself playing with. Also, back to Photoshop real quick, because I forgot to mention it. There's new clarity, dehaze, and grain adjustment layers for non-destructive editing. This is if you want to be in Photoshop and you want to add effects like grain, or you want to adjust the clarity and dehazing of a thing. Previously, you would have to put it in like a smart object and then adjust the smart object or something. Now you can actually use it as an actual layer that you can put on top of stuff, and then from there you're going to be able to have non-destructive edits, which means that like you're going to be able to go in and you're not going to have to worry about having some sort of like issue backtracking later. You can actually just turn it on and off. You can also mask it in and out. So you can say like, I just want clarity here, I just want grain here, and then you're able to go in and you can add more dimension. You can use like, maybe faux depth of field by making something more hazy or messing with the focus or with clarity, and then you'll be able to like enhance your subject structure. Then they also did some updates to the generative fill and generative expand and remove tool. They all updated to have a 2K Firefly function. So now when you're in there, you are able to actually get higher outputs by default with 2K updates. So when you're messing with a higher resolution photo, you're able to go in there, and then when you make edits to it, it's not going to be as like glaringly obvious when it's a little bit different. If you're like getting rid of a wrinkle, or you're switching out the bag. They also did updates to the reference image. So if you have a product that you want to incorporate into a mock-up, you can then put the picture of the bag in there, and then it's going to understand it better. It's going to have more geometry awareness, so that it understands things like scale, rotation, lighting, color, and perspective. So something to check out, and yeah, very cool. And then what else do we have? Hello to anyone who's joining us on Instagram. Good to see you here. Then we have an update from Meta as well. Like I said, so many social media updates. This one's kind of crazy. Meta is to test premium subscriptions on Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. This is coming from Aisha Malik from TechCrunch, one of my favorite reporters. And she's saying that Meta is planning to test new subscriptions to give people access to exclusive features on its apps. It has new subscription features like being able to view stories without the person being able to see you. They have features like, ability to add a list of followers who don't follow you back and see how that works. You can create unlimited audience lists if you're doing targeting. It is planning to add this in addition to any of its stuff that is also there for... Tracy's calling out Roscoe, who just came on the screen. There's also this is in addition to the different of like the Meta Verified that's going to be different from this, and they're going to keep the core experience free, they said, but it is something that they're going to experiment with. And so how do you guys feel about this? I mean, I know it's Instagram, I know it's Meta, I know we all interact with it a little differently now, but how do you guys feel about some users having a premium experience? Is this something that you guys would end up purchasing or subscribing to, or is this something that will kind of not be something that you look into? Let me know. Have we gone through all of our news? No, we haven't. I'm so sorry. According to TechCrunch, Microsoft gave the FBI a set of BitLocker encryption keys to unlock suspects' laptops. If you don't know, many modern Windows computers rely on full disk encryption, and this is coming from Lorenzo Franceschi Bicciari. And it says that it's always enabled by default, and it's just a way to make sure that anyone can't access your information besides the device owner, because if you have it locked and powered off, you're not going to be able to use it. And apparently, BitLock recovery keys are uploaded to Microsoft's cloud, allowing the tech giant and extension law enforcement to access them and use them to decrypt drives using BitLocker's encryption. They told Forbes that the company sometimes provides BitLocker recovery keys to authorities, having received an average of 20 such requests per year. Just bringing up for privacy for things that are on your computer. If you want things to be more private, don't just rely on the fact that you have a password on your Microsoft Windows. Even if you don't give away the password or your encryption or your Windows ID, there is a chance that it's still accessible by other people. Back real quick to paying for Instagram. On Instagram, Tracy is saying, I wouldn't pay for Instagram ever. Which, yeah, I hear you there. And Kendall said, honestly, I'm trying to spend as little time on the giant social media as I possibly can these days. And Reverb Mike is saying that except for Gwen Stefani, he doesn't care about any follow back girls, which is funny. Keys says that subscriptions are like this decade's I'm going to say it again. Keys says that subscriptions are like this decade's microtransaction apocalypse of the last decade. And yes, there is definitely something with subscription fatigue. So there's definitely something there. Zero has joined us over on Instagram. Good to see you, Zero. Then I think this might be the last thing that we have for news for today, I think, before we hop on into something else. And this is the YouTubers that are now suing Snap for training their AI model. There is a group of YouTubers that are coming together and saying that Snap used their videos to train its AI systems of their video content. The plaintiffs filed similar lawsuits already against NVIDIA, Meta, and ByteDance over similar matters. In some cases, in past, there have been some legislation earlier, like last year, where a judge has ruled in favor of the tech giant, and that's when Meta was coming to conflict with authors and training off of their work, books that they had bought. And then in others, like the case between Anthropic and a group of authors, the AI giant settled with and paid out the plaintiffs to resolve their claims, and many are still in active litigation. So we'll see how this goes. As a reminder, Firefly content is not trained on any copyrighted works, only consensual works. So if you use Firefly, you are not using a system that is being trained with anything that could potentially be used in these... could be used in these lawsuits. So something just to keep in mind. Hello to Virgil 1. Good to see you again. And also Oliver is saying that he will not be purchasing Meta. So yeah, that's the news that we have for today, but we still have a little bit of time left. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go into our section of the week called Font of the Week, where we vote on 3 different fonts to see which one is going to be the winner. And then we put it into a selection of fonts that you're able to access through your Adobe fonts to maybe include into your projects. So let's transition over to Font of the Week. We have 3 different options this week, as we always do. We have Discordia, Ingria, and Arpona. These are 3 different ones that I just pulled out. We're going to go font by font real quick, and we are going to vote on which one you guys think is the winner for the week. I'm going to declare that through the YouTube poll that we have going. So if you're over on YouTube, I'm going to go ahead and create a poll after I end this other one. You can see my cat is just being relentless today. So I'm going to go, I ended the other one. It looks like 48% of you are finding TikTok alternatives, 29% of you are uninstalling it, and 23% of you are keeping TikTok. So very interesting. I'm going to put in Font of the Week here, and it's going to be the Discordia, Angria, and good old Arpona. And we're going to start those polls. And you guys can vote at any time, but I also like to encourage people to maybe hold off because it might be interesting. You might find something interesting out about one, and then you're going to want to change your vote, and then that's a whole thing, and it gets real complicated. So we're going to go font by font real quick, and we will determine which is the winner. So number 1 here, let's start with Discordia. This is coming to us from Alvaro Franca, Ben Nathan, and Felipe Casaprima from the Nape Foundry. And they say that it is a family contrasting contrasts, and each of the 4 members of the family has a different contrast type. Regular has broad nip contrast. Bold has horizontal contrast. The italic is monoline, which means it has no apparent contrast, and bold italic as well. Well, it's probably best if you see for yourself, they say. These different design structures were fine-tuned to work well together in the same line, creating emphasis and hierarchy through a mini superfamily that groups a wedge serif regular, a slab serif bold, a sans serif-ish italic, and a twisted bold italic. This mini superfamily covers Latin and Hebrew and comes packed with features like the alternate characters, swash capitals, old-style new numbers, icons, fractions, and more. So you can see here. This is the bold. The bold is crazy. I don't know if I like the bold. The bold is so intense. It has lots of like cuts into it where it looks like maybe it's even like flipping, fully twisted, almost like an hourglass in like all of the type, with some really interesting places where it has thick strokes next to non-existent strokes. You can see that the regular looks kind of just like a regular serif, with a little bit of like funkiness with like the Z or maybe like the extender of the Y. The italic is very clear and easy to read. I'm going to actually go ahead. This is going to be like a hard view to see, you guys, but also you guys can see my little guys that I have down here. We also have just little focus of all the different ones. There is nice variation. It looks like it can be used in some really weird ways. It looks like you can use it for some importance and focusing. But yeah, it's strange. I like how they use it for the drop cap, for the beginning of the type for using the bold and then switching over to something else. So I think you could have a lot of fun with this one. This one's Discordia. No connection to Discord as a service. And Oliver has already voted, said Keys. Reverb is saying it's like the show Bold and the Beautiful. And Clever is saying it looks like the bold italic was left behind by a sick doggy. And Winter's saying that it's a little too bold. Tracy thinks that the bold is wild. And yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. It's grown on me more the more that I've like looked into it for the actual stream itself. But I picked it because I thought it was just so funky. And, you know, we like to have a little bit of variance. Then we have Angria. This is from Dave Rowland. We've definitely done Dave Rowland type several times. Really great stuff. This one is says it treads a fine line between sans and serif. Its wedge-like serif resemble engraved forms created by this blade shape made by the bristles when clamped together. At the same time, it looks like a stressed flared sans. This mixed approach lends a unique voice. Thanks to its characteristic details, it is highly legible in text sizes and shines in display sizes. Angria has 4 weights with italics and makes a perfect addition to any designer's typographic arsenal. You can see there's lots of flexibility here with the different weights. You have book, but you also have like italic for the book and regular, what have you. It says that it was inspired by engraved forms and brush strokes. It looks very clean, looks very nice. I could definitely see this. Yeah, it's a plant-based protein. I could definitely see it in something that is for a nice packaging design, or maybe some sort of skincare or something. Umacorn likes the bolder versions. It's very rounded. Yeah, I think it looks like a nice, relatable thing. You could definitely use it in large quantities or for a display as well. And then the last contender for today's font of the week is Arpona. This is coming to us from Felix Braden from Flood Fonts. It says that it's a typeface with a small wedge serif and strong character. It's ideal for corporate design and all projects characterized by a sense of individualism. For example, art, fashion, food, beverage, and lifestyle topics. Because of its display qualities, Arpona is a good choice for packaging, advertising, and editorial design, and is well readable even in running text on screen. Lots of weights from very, very thin to very, very thick. It can be used for big impact, and it can also be used for just kind of like a simple header, or something like editorial text. So that is our 3 contenders for us: Arpona, Angria, and Discordia. And you can go ahead and you can vote on the YouTube chat if you're interested in declaring a winner. I'm seeing that Kendall is torn. She likes them all, which I always love to hear. I like to at least pick ones that you guys at least are a little interested in. And then I'm also interested in just seeing which one you guys think works the best. Umacorn is saying that Arpona looks good as well, so she's feeling it. And Clever is saying there's a new definition of drop cap because it looks like doggy do for the drop cap, which is really funny. I don't necessarily know if it looks like doggy do, but it definitely looks interesting. And that's for the Discordia one. What about the glyphs? Oh, I did not make a thing for the glyphs. I didn't make a thing for glyphs. I don't know if we have time to hop into glyphs. But maybe I'll put that on the Discord or something, because I forgot to pull that up in Photoshop. And we have a few more things to get through. We're not going to get through all this before the end of the stream, but there are a few that I do want to touch on. So let's, as you guys continue to vote on the Instagram, on the YouTube polls, go ahead and then I will go ahead and switch over to Rebrand. So go to Rebrand. Also, this is the back end for everybody who's on YouTube right now. This is what it looks like. Thanks for being here. So for Rebrand, we have an update from the U.S. government, and this is from an article that I saw that said Trump designed a logo for peace. It leaves out half the world, and this is coming from Fast Company. I actually forgot to grab a screenshot of the author in the screenshot, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that up briefly so you guys are able to see it. Like I said, everything is linkable here in the raindrop, but this is coming to us from Hunter Schwartz for Fast Company. And as you guys may have or may not have heard, Trump had decided that he doesn't want to do the United Nations, so he then instead introduced the Board of Peace. It says that a team led by American designer Oliver Lincoln Lundquist created the United Nations emblem in 1945. He was a World War II veteran who also designed the blue and white Q-tip box. And he was on the team that designed the Chrysler Motors exhibition for the 1939 New York World's Fair. It says that the team designed a mark showing the globe centered around the North Pole and encircled by a laurel wreath, as you can see here. And the mark was later modified to the current UN emblem by spinning it around so Alaska and Russia were on the top of the world, and then zoomed out to include more of the globe, because originally there was some cutting off of other countries like Argentina and the bottom of South Africa and Australia. The UN blue color was used by the organization because it was chosen because it is the opposite of red, which is the war color. And so by contrast, the Trump administration introduced the Board of Peace. And as you can see, it actually only focuses on kind of the Americas side of the world, and uses the same sort of laurel. It uses a shield rather than like a full-on globe. And it's getting a lot of criticism for being potentially AI slop, and is just interesting to see kind of the connection of it being very similar to the idea of it being the UN logo, but instead of a globe and showing the whole world, it is a globe with just America and a shield, which is interesting. It's in our rebrand. Also, I put a little breakdown of all of the things from last week, or not all of it, some of the things on my Instagram. And one of the things that we talked about last week was this new sunscreen brand that was kind of untraditional in the way that it was kind of marketed. And so there was a comment by H White 03, and it says, if you like Evil Ray, which was the sunscreen company that we were talking about, you should check out Slather's ads. They're insane. And I did, and they are insane. The whole idea of Slather is that the sun is like this villain and this creepy, nasty guy that is going to then go and kind of burn your face off. In one of the videos that they even have, there is like melting skin off of the face of the person that is kind of like face to face with this crazy sun. I wanted to feature it, not only because I really appreciated him reaching out and suggesting it, but I just thought it was fun to see how sunscreens are really continuing to find new ways to, market and be something that doesn't just all look the same. Everything doesn't look kind of like that orange and blue generic one. Kendall says that she really likes this branding. Yes, I like it also when brands have personality and fun. I suggest definitely going to their website and checking it out, because it is a wild brand campaign, and they just said yes and they just ran with it. Immercorn says it's a bit dramatic. That comes from someone who doesn't burn a lot. Okay, that's somebody who doesn't burn a lot, and guess what? I burn so easily. The Adobe team actually laughed at me because I had lunch on the rooftop at their office one time, and I got burnt to a crisp, and we were only out there for like 30 minutes. And the last rebrand, I guess, isn't fully rebrand, but it is kind of the idea of the evolution of design here. This is coming off of threads developed by Umair. He says he saw that someone said that if you look at the history of Apple icons in reverse chronologically, it looks like someone becoming a better artist. And so on the very far left, we have the icons of the kind of iOS of today, which is the Weather app, the Maps app, the Notes app, the Books app, and what is this? The Pages app, which I guess kind of like their PowerPoint of sorts. And you can see that it gets way more, as you call it, skeuomorphic as you go back in time. You know, you have the idea of kind of like this glossy texture. Everything feels tangible. Everything feels, I don't know, like very 3D and kind of placed on. Then you obviously went into very flat, and then we kind of moved back towards skeuomorphism again. Skeuomorphism is when something looks kind of like a physical object. And the comments were mixed. I didn't screenshot any comments here, but the comments were mixed between people being like, no, to a point, something with UI and the idea of legibility and the ability of being able to get something across with minimum shape is very notable and nice. Whereas other people were like, I don't know why we got far away from this. Like, Uma Corrin is saying she likes the Inkpot, which is the very bottom one here for the pages. And so there was lots of mixed feelings here. And some people loved the old icons. Some people loved the new icons. Other people were indifferent. And yeah, I thought it was an interesting kind of exploration, and just to see how things have changed so much in almost 20 years, because now iOS is almost 20 years old, which is crazy. Kendall misses the old Notes app look. I remember that. Yeah, it has like actual page rips on it, right? Like it felt very tactical, I believe. And so yeah. Once again, I'm just going to give you guys a quick look at the 3 fonts if you haven't voted yet, because we're getting close to the top of our show. This is what Arpona looks like. This is what Angria looks like. And this is what Discordia looks like. And this is all things that we're voting on for Font of the Week. You can go ahead and you can vote on them on the YouTube poll. And you can see right now, Angria is in the lead. So if you disagree, make sure you hop onto YouTube and you give it a vote. So let me know what you guys are voting for. See if you can pull something through at the end. We have a bit more, but like I said, I don't think we're going to be able to get through all of it. It's also available on the Raindrop. We can also talk about any of them on the Discord if you're interested. But I want to hop into resources real quick because I came across a really cool YouTube series that I think you guys would really like. For resources, I just want to highlight this one. I found it through Motion Mondays, which is a School of Motion's weekly design for motion designers news show, which I really love to watch every week. So shout out to those guys. But this one is a suggestion off of them that they came, and it's from the Video Shop. If you guys have ever seen those ones where someone is responding to the idea that is like, you know, motion graphics respond to how they did the special effects of the Mission Impossible and stuff. This is a motion designer that went ahead and then started creating its own series of motion designer reacts to bad and great title sequences. And he's going through all these different ones from famous movies and showing what's good, what isn't good, what works, what doesn't work. I reached out to him to make sure that I could highlight it. And this is kind of what he said in response to it. He said the title sequences as time capsules aspect is when footage is shot for opening montages. He talked a lot about that in episode 5 and has great examples from old films. He has a stop motion episode in episode 6. He talks about how music is really important in episode 3, specifically with the Fantastic Four titles. He talks about design and kinetic type in episode 4 with Ballad of a Small Player, and episode 1 with Caught Stealing. He says, honestly, everything I've learned about the process behind the Beast in Me titles is in episode 7, and the rigor behind the thought process was insane, and the results were stunning. They are really interesting. They're not super long either. They're nice kind of like tidbits. You could eat it while, you know, like eating a snack or dinner if you eat fast. Like they're about like 5 to 10 minutes long. Looks like this one's like 12 minutes long. And something to check out. And you can find that over at the Video Shop London on YouTube. Looks like he has 31,000 subscribers, so looks like hopefully he's getting enough fanfare, but still give him a thumbs up, give him a like for me, because it's really fun, cool stuff to watch, and I highly recommend it. He's really good at video editing, go figure, and it's fun to watch. So that's the resources. That does put us just at about time, but I wonder if we can do just one more spotlight here. The thing that I kind of teased at earlier was CTIA hierarchy in the wild. So let's look at that. This is just really interesting. It comes from Jim's blog, and it says, the other day I was browsing YouTube, as one does, and I clicked a link to the video in the description to a book. I was then subjected to a man-in-the-middle attack where YouTube put themselves in the middle of me and the link I'd clicked. And it says, are you sure you want to leave YouTube? The link is taking you to a site outside of YouTube, and then has go to site and back to YouTube. Naturally, you would want to go, and by just like interaction, the call to action, you would click the big blue button to say, no, I want to continue to go to the link. But since YouTube wants you to stay on YouTube, they have the button that says back to YouTube in blue. So you kind of instinctively hit back to YouTube. This raised the question of the idea of like, are these platforms, are they doing things that are what are best for the user and the user experience like it used to be, or are they doing things that are best for the platform? This is something we were talking about a little bit earlier in the show, also something that is just becoming more present with other things. And the idea that back to YouTube is in blue is really big, whereas go to the site is less likely to think of something you're going to click. So yeah, you know, it's interesting. Instagram does it too. Yes, Oliver, he says it's been there for a while. Yes, it's on a lot of sites. I think like on ones like Yelp and stuff, I think it's there for kind of your protection. But the idea of how it's going to be able to click on things is what's really important, and how what the user expects and what, you know, is kind of like hierarchy and shown is really interesting to see. Looks like we lost Behance, so we'll see if anyone is hopping over to YouTube. Good to see you here. The last two things, I guess we do have time for everything, is there's an RGB game on Android only where you get these little sliders, and on the left you have to kind of see what it is, and on the right you have to match it. Then you can see that it's just called RGB. It's from Fired Up Forge. And I don't have an Android, so I can't play it, but I thought it looked really fun. I saw like the little video of it, and if you guys have Androids, you might be able to check it out. And then the very last thing that I'll touch on, we don't have to go fully into it, it's from Tom May for Creative Boom. It says, is billing your clients in advance ever okay? Members of the Creative Boom community explore when it's okay to accept an advance payment for future work and offer some tips to make it work. And some people say yes, some people say no, some people say it depends. Basically, it's happened to a lot of people in December where they were saying, hey, it's the end of the year, we have budget we need to get through, can we just have you bill $10,000 and then we can work on stuff in the new year, and you can kind of backtrack. A lot of people say you need to have a contract, you need to have set expectations, you need to have priority, you need to have kind of expiration dates for the idea, kind of like a gift card. But some people say yes, some people say no, and it comes down to preference, but it's really up to you, and client by client and person by person or studio by studio. Let's go, and we got to end out the show before we hop over to Twitch. And so I'm going to go, and we're going to declare a winner for Font of the Week. You guys have about 10 seconds. By the time you probably even see this, because of any latency, you probably are not going to. But you guys have about 10 seconds to vote. And looks like we have a clear winner here with 22 votes. And that belongs to Angria, which is this one down here. So the winner of Font of the Week goes to Dave Roland Type for this fun font. It looks like 50% said Angria, 32% said Epona, and only 18% of you liked Discordia. So as with every show, I go in and I then take the winner, and we're going to take that winner, Angria, and I'm just going to put it into Font of the Week winners. You can always access this, and you're able to see all the previous winners for a bunch of recent episodes, and then you're able to use that if you're approaching a new project or something. So thank you guys so much for being here. Coming up right now in about 60 seconds, we're going to be hopping on over to... My cat is about to jump on me. We're about to hop on to... Twitch, where we're going to see CA in LA for the Cinema Collective. They are great at focusing on great different video things, and I suggest you guys check it out. That's over at twitch.tv/Adobe. As with anything else, we will see you guys back here for all the content on YouTube tomorrow. Give this a follow on Spotify or Apple Podcasts if you want to watch it or listen to it as a podcast. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you to everyone who tuned in on Instagram, even though it was kind of weird. Maybe I'll have it set up better next week. But we'll be back here and on same time, same place, 1 p.m. on YouTube. So good to see you guys. Thank you, Roscoe, for being here, except not really. I always like give him the benefit of the doubt to not kick him out, and then when I don't, he makes my life very exciting. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for voting. See you guys on the Discord. See you guys. You can find me on Ryan Selvey at Instagram or Blue Sky. and I will see you all real soon. Now let's all go ahead and raid that Twitch. Thanks for watching.